talking, so I wasn't paying attention. Shay and Rhea and whoever else, you'll need to send me a picture of this. This is due on the 15th for Mr. Michener. It's in your folder. So however you turn stuff in, but we're doing it together in here, and we're going to do it today and on Monday. So it's due on the 15th. It's an actual assignment for you guys. It's not something extra. All right, so I'm just going to catch you up. Jake cleaned up on the inside here by telling us that there's 3 X's on the top and 6 Y's. We're then done. And then we decided everything had to go to the 1/3 power. And the cubed root of 27 is 3. Because 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. Or you use a little cheat sheet. Or you go 27 to the 1/3 power on your calculator. Whatever you're comfortable with. When we do power to a power, what do we do with those exponents? I need to know. So I did the 27 to the 1/3, and I got 3. How about x to the 3rd to the 1/3? What do you do with these? Multiply them. So you have to do 3 times 1/3, either in your head or on a calculator, whatever you're comfortable with. It's 3/3, which is just x to the 1st. Okay? Then I need to do the y to the 6th to the 1/3, Betsy, which is really just 6 over 3, or 1/3 of 6, right? So I'll have 2 y's left. And then on the bottom, I have to do 125, or the cubed root of 125, either in my head, or off the table, or on my calculator. But I need to know how to take 25th. Best case scenario, you know that it's a cubed root, and you know that that's 5 cubed, so you know it's 5. Worst case scenario, you have to go to your calculator and you forget how to use it. That's deadly. So make sure if you're using your calculator, Jackson, you know how to use it. What's the cubed root of 125? Of 5? Lock and load it. That's as simplified as it gets. We cleaned it up. We didn't leave any negative exponents. It looks great. So number 2. Now I've got issues. I've got a couple issues, actually. First of all, you have to decide what you're going to do with a negative exponent, and you have to know what it means to raise something to the negative 4/3. Because if you have to show your work, you have to know which one's the root. Is it a cubed root or a 4th root? Is the root on the bottom or on the top? Do you know? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go over here and write equals. And I'm going to put it in what we call radical form. I'm going to put that negative 27 right here. I want to know what goes on the outside, the 3 or the 4. Remember I told you about a car bottoming out? Yeah, the bottom goes on the outside. This is a cubed root of negative 27 to the 4th power. So if you had to write it in radical form or show your work, remember bottom out, like a car bottoms out. So the bottom of the fraction's on the outside. The cubed root of negative 27 is negative 3. We have to raise it to the 4th. Yes.
So I'm on number 5 here.
Oh, don't go to number 5 yet. What'd you get for number 2?
36.
No.
Wow.
It's going to be negative 3 times negative 3 times negative 3 times negative 3, or negative 3 to the 4th. I would always, by the way, because you're allowed to have a calculator, I check your answer on a calculator. I wouldn't do it all on your calculator because you won't earn all the points, is my guess. But I would definitely, once I'm done and I think to, or I can go to my calculator to do negative 3 to the 4th as well. But 2 negatives make a positive 9. The other 2 make a positive 9. This is 81. But if you get that on the test, Jackson, what I would do then is once I have my answer, I'd go back up here and in parentheses, I'd put negative 27. And then I'd raise it to the negative 4/3. And your calculator will confirm whether you did it right or not.
Can't do it that way.
That one's tricky. But the answer is 81. So whatever you did, something was goofy. I'm not quite sure
I
what.
did it where you just keep it like that. You just flip it.
Well, you could have, yeah, that would work too. Like if you wanted to make it 1 over. Sorry.
Yeah, and then
My,
put a negative.
oh,
sign.
you know what? I didn't see that negative sign. There is one there. You're right. Sorry, guys. I ignored the negative. That's deadly. It should be 1 over. Yep. It's so blurry I didn't pay attention to it. All right. This is blurry too. Is yours clearer? Is it a 1/3 and a 2/5?
Yes.
All right. When we multiply, what do we do with exponents? When you multiply, what do you do with those exponents? It's from last chapter. It equals a to the, do I multiply, subtract, add them? What do I do with those when I'm multiplying? I add them. The only difference is now they're fractions. So I'm going to write on my test 1/3 plus 2/5. And then you need to know how to add fractions. I like to do, I call it in calculus crisscross applesauce, but you really just do 5 on the criss plus 6 on the cross all over, and we call that applesauce, but you multiply across. It'd be 11/15. I would check it on a calculator. Do you guys know how? Dylan, do you know what button you use to add fractions on your calculator? Do you, Jake? Because you have a calculator. You go and you enter them, because I'm going to show this work, but I'm going to double check. I'm going to do 1/3, 1 divided by 3. Try it, Jackson, plus 2 divided by 5. And I'm going to see if my calculator confirms by hitting math. And the very first thing under your math button, it says frac.
How did you get that? Because I got 2 over 15. I did exactly.
You have to get a common denominator. Yep, so this one needs to get multiplied by 5. This one needs to get multiplied by 3. So you get 5 plus 6 over 15. So for your calculator, you're going to do 1 divided by 3 plus 2 divided by 5. You might want to write this on the sheet so you don't forget. Then you hit the math button. And the math is over here on the left. And the first option it gives you is something called frac. And if you hit that twice, it'll determine whether you, like that would make you fix yours. Right? And it'll say 11/15. Did you get it to work, Jake? Okay, so maybe try it again. What if it was this times a to the 3/7? You need to know how to do it by hand. It'd be 7 plus 12. What's 7 plus 12? 19 over, and then the common denominator is 28. But then I'd go check it on my calculator. Has he taught you that crisscross across way? I think he has. Somebody told me, well, you guys don't want your notes usually. Killing me! All right, we're on number 4. I gotta stand back so I can see it. Now I have a negative exponent, ick, right? What'd you say, Jackson, you do when you have a negative exponent? And I have to flip all of this. So the only thing that's gonna be left on the top is a 1, and I'll have 9. Is that an x to the negative 4th, guys? Okay, so I take that back. I'm sorry it's so blurry. I had to bring it in off the dock. So that's going to have to go up. We're going to have to do a rewrite before we flip. We're going to have a 9. We're going to have the y to the 6th. X to the negative 4th. We clean inside first, just like I had Jake do on that other one. Negative exponents, send them to the other level. Okay? So the first thing was negative exponent inside, deal with it. Now negative exponent on outside, flip it, right? So I'll have 9 y to the 6th on the bottom and an x to the 4th on the top. So you might want to write yourself a little note, flip. What do I raise it to? Once I flip it, then what do I do to it? To the half, yeah, to the positive 1/2. Now you have to decide how you want to deal with that 1/2. It's a square root, but remember when you do power to a power, you multiply those powers. So we'd have x to the 4th times 1/2 is x squared. What's 9 to the 1/2 power? 3. It's the square root. That little 2 is your root. Yep. So if you want to put it under a root, you could do that too, but 3. And then how about y to the 6th to the 1/2? Why? Yes, because you multiply these. Any questions on that, Jake? So the negative inside, I sent it down. Jackson told me to flip it and go to the positive. There's nothing to do on the inside anymore, so we raised everything to the 1/2 power. All right, we're going to definitely make it to number 6. That was my goal today. You have 2 options with this one, an easy one and a difficult one. Okay. The easier thing to do is to write these like this. This is the bottom of the fraction, right? This right here you don't see. What is it? 2. I would write it like this. Then you have to remember last chapter. Let's see if you do, Dylan. When you divide, what do you do with the exponents? Dylan? Nope, that's when you multiply. Like on that last one, when I had a times a, I added the exponents. We do, and the reason you subtract is because 3 of these will kill off 3 of those. So it's really 7. 3 are getting killed off. It's x to the 4th. So this, now let's, Jake, see if you do have your calculator skills done. Do you know what that is? Without a calculator, you do 5 minus 2 all over 10. You should be getting a 3/10 on this calculator. Okay? So you might want to write yourself a little note. Subtract the exponents. All right, we're on the last one of that type. All right, talk me through it. The minute you see those parentheses, your eyes go in there and you do anything you can. Yes, he sees negative exponents. Good job today, Jackson. He's seen these, and what do we always do, Mason, with negative exponents? We flip them. So the x squared's positive. It's going to stay exactly where it is. The y, the x to the negative 4th is going to go on the top. I would do that first. There's other things you can do, but I like that. So what happens when we multiply? Dylan, what do I do with those exponents when I multiply? I do. I have 2 of them and 4 more of them. I actually have 6 of those. If I was dividing, I'd subtract the exponents. Now, who haven't I picked on? Tanner, what do I do when I have power to a power? X to the 6 to the 2/3. Anyway, I do. And it's 12 over 3, where you use your calculator, whatever you're comfortable with, right? X to the 4th. Woo! Those are the first 6. And those were all kind of just on simplifying and cleaning stuff up. I actually think that was one of the harder sections. The next section you guys were really good at. We're going to mosey on into it. The solving. There's just a few little details I have to remind you about. The first one is, Betsy, when I don't see anything in here, what is it? It's a 2. Yep. How do you undo a square root? My x is trapped, yeah. My x is trapped under a root sign. So, and if that had been a cube root, I'd have to cube it. If it was a 4th root, I'd have to 4th it. But be careful, because it's this whole side that needs to get squared. Did you hear what I said about if this was a cube root? Then you'd raise both. You need these to match. And even though there's nothing there, that means there's a 2.
Thing in the middle of the line, right?
It is an equal sign. Yeah, sorry. So it's an x plus 14. We pop that root out. Equals x plus 2 squared. Now I want to see if you guys remember what you do over here. With x plus 2 in parentheses. Squared. I think we'll just do one more after this. What do I do with that? Do you remember, Betsy? It's a 4-letter word. What is it? It might help trigger it if I write it as it. I'm writing really neat today. Times, I'm digging this white pen. It's really big. Now do you remember what you need to do with the right hand side? Foil. Thank you, whoever. Who said that? Thank you, Tanner. So let's go do. It wasn't you?
No, I think it's both.
I don't know, when you have masks on, I can't tell where the noise is coming from. All right, so first, you might want to write yourself a note. FOIL. What does FOIL stand for? First.
Second.
Outside. Third. Inside. And then we multiply the lasts. All right, that's kind of a lot of work. Jake, do you know what to do next? Yeah. Yeah, let's go add these together. I'm going to move over here because I'm running out of real estate down there. So x plus 14 equals x squared plus a 4x plus a 4. Jackson, you were working, no, it wasn't you. Take that back. Somebody else is working on these. It was a geometry student. But it's a quadratic equation, and I told you have to get one side equal to. Yes. Did you take your math medication today? All right. So I have to subtract x. If you didn't hear him, he said you got to get one side equal to 0. Perfect. I have to subtract 14. Subtract 14. And erase my FOIL. Bam. All right. So I'll have 0 on the left. You got to get one side equal to 0. Equal to what, Jake?
Equal to x squared plus 3x times 10.
X squared plus 3x.
Yeah.
All right. Do you guys remember how to solve this?
Yeah.
What do you do? Do you?
You also FOIL.
You unfoil.
Yeah.
Yeah. If it does, let's try it. Is there any way to get a positive 3 out of those?
Yeah.
I think so. As long as the 2's negative, right? I'm going to double check it. X squared plus, super. Remember, my goal is to figure out what makes it 0. It's a lot of work for this problem. There's 2 possible answers.
Plus 2 and minus 5.
Plus 2, yeah. So x equals plus 2 minus 5. Now, if this is on your test, we're going to say 5 points. Do you know why you would only get 4? It's really good, and you guys talked me through it very well, but there's still something wrong with it. I didn't. Extraneous solutions, remember you can't rip and get a negative. So like, what's the square root of 25? 5. So you have to make sure that you basically, when you check, you have to make sure you don't get a negative on this side. So when x is a 2, I'd have root 16 equaling 4. That's a good answer. Square root of 16 is 4, right, Jackson? So I like the 2. That is an answer. When I put in a negative 5, I'll get a 9 under a root. And what's the square root of 9? 3, not negative 3. So this is what we call garbage, or an extraneous solution. What do you think about that? Will you remember to check them? If you don't, it's the difference between like an A minus and an A. But you should check them. Make sure you don't get negatives. Let's see if you guys can tell me what to do in the next one. The x is trapped in parentheses. There's a 5 in the way, a 2 in the way, but even farther away, you have to kill off the farthest away first. It's like you're on an attack. I'm not going to go adding 5 yet. I didn't kill off the half. Do you remember how to kill it?
Have the parentheses around the whole
My goodness, yes. We do have to put parentheses around the whole thing.
and then do 1/2.
Almost. To the
Oh, 3/2.
flip.
Oh, yeah.
So if it was to the 2/3, you go to the 3/2. Since this is to the 1/2, you have to raise both sides to the 2/1. All right? So you raise it to the reciprocal. The reason it kills it off is because you get 2/2, which is 1. So it gets rid of that exponent. Okay? So let's go rewrite it. We've got the 2x. I still have the 5 in the way. I killed off the 1/2 power, but now it's equal to 9. And now you smooth sailing. You remember working on ones like this with you, Mason. What'd you get for x? I'm going to quit for the distance
I
learners.
got 7.
Yep, that's correct. So this is what he's going to assign tomorrow, I believe. I'm reading the schedule right. And we have a bunch done. But we never talked about 6.7 ever, because we were always a few days behind because people don't take their notes. Did you guys do 6.7? Did you watch your notes for 6.7? You need them for this class too, because I'm checking notes on, what did I say, Jackson? Tuesday. Yep, so make sure you get caught up on your notes. But we're going to keep working with this on Monday so that we can prep as best we can. I'm going to stop this. Distance learners, just take a picture and send it to me.
Miss Alcavilla said on Monday we could come here the whole hour.
Yeah, the geometry kids didn't want that to fly because they have a test Tuesday as well.
Oh, my God.
They have their test on the sine, cosine, tangent stuff.
That shit was so